Yay, Calvin. He's got a big smile. Look at that smile, my gosh. He's got a big smile. And Peter Lou is playing his Facebook Live instrument.
I am.
It's so good to see.
Live on the air.
I like Facebook Live, but I can't compete with Peter. Peter is
You
Peter.
can.
Yeah, I know. He just loves his face. And it's so much fun because he's been keeping track of everything that's been going on.
Everything. I think Matt was fortunate to have him. And
I agree.
And his expose.
Oh, you guys are sweet.
Expose. Oh my gosh, are we going to expose him today?
Yeah, well, I mean, what he does for the company. Wherever I've been on the island, I've seen ads, and I've seen it in the news and
on the radio.
Radio that he's really helping them to get the word out of this wonderful company that's bringing such joy to this community.
We've been talking about the Hunchback of Notre Dame for months now, Peter. Months.
That's true.
And I can't believe we're down to the wire, and that this Friday night is the big night, the opening night.
We're all really excited.
Are there any tickets left for Friday night, Peter?
Just a few. Go get them.
I want to get them. I haven't got my tickets yet. I was gone. 242 show at the Castle, of course, or MauiArts.org. But it's kind of nice if you go down, you can pick your seats and see the seats. If you talk to someone, they'll help you. They're very, very friendly down there.
They are very friendly.
Are you in the MAC yet?
We are. We were in the MAC as of Monday. Sunday they loaded the set in. They took it from the rehearsal space to the theater, and last night we had our first run through with costumes.
Was that exciting?
It was exciting. Like in the live theater, there was a lot of stopping and starting as we got used to the deck and the new spatial arrangement. It's a very big company from the 30 plus members that are on stage, but there's also a large chorus that sings in Latin the music of the Notre Dame. So
I didn't know it was in Latin.
Yeah,
wow,
they
that
sing.
Makes it real authentic,
yeah, absolutely. So we're really in the sanctuary, and so.
Is it different being in the MAC with it? I know you've been rehearsing for months and months.
Well, for a lot of people it would be different, but I have a long background in the theater. So
What's your background?
Let's see. I started in the professional theater in 1983. I got my union card with Actors Equity Association. I've thus been able to do 7 national tours and years of regional theater. I've done 2 shows on Broadway, and I'm here as a guest artist playing Captain Phoebus de Martin of the Notre Dame.
Well, you're the love interest of
Esmeralda, absolutely. I get to kiss the girl locked in the prison beneath the Notre Dame.
But isn't it hard because there's 2 other men that love her? Here's this gorgeous gypsy, and you're the love interest, and there's these 2 other complete opposites.
It's
One
true.
is a complete forbidden love.
Yes.
Of the head of the church there, that's in love with her.
Yes.
And then there's this precious soul locked in the body of a hunchback.
Absolutely.
That's in love with her. And how does that make your character play out? You're a captain. Yeah. You're a powerful person.
Right.
And you're in the midst of a love triangle.
It is a love triangle. I think, Victor Hugo's piece is remarkable in that, and it's a timely piece, dealing with gypsies and immigrants and people who are, cast aside and forbidden, and they're not allowed to celebrate. There's one day a year that they're allowed to participate in what's called the Feast of Fools, and of course Quasimodo wants to go down and enjoy this revelry. And the Archdeacon Frollo, the head of the cathedral, finds it a vile display, and as these lives intermingle with one another, a message develops. And I think the core of the show is God help the outcast.
Really?
Yes, and in this particular political time of what we're going through right now with the conversation of healthcare and our current politics, this is such a timely piece because you see people literally hiding, being thrown out, existing in the shadows, trying to survive. And I think the captain's character goes through a kind of metamorphosis where he is very strong. He's come to Paris from the battlefield to take this appointment. But along the way, there is a reckoning within his spirit of where I have an opportunity to torch the gypsies' brothel. And I hear the voice of Esmeralda singing "God Help the Outcast," and in that moment I become somewhat of a traitor, and I join forces with the gypsies.
Wow, so and then you are in trouble.
Absolutely. And I'm treason.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really very powerful. And I the other day when we had the SITS probe, I was in tears listening to the words and the music by Alan Menken, of course, who did Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid, among other shows, and the words by Stephen Schwartz, who's a friend of mine, who did Pippin and Wicked and The Magic Show and Godspell. He's a great composer. The two of them came together to reinvent this magnificent piece of literature for the musical stage. So I think that if you sit back and you really allow yourself to watch David Johnston's direction.
How do you like it? Now, you've worked with a lot of names. You've worked in Broadway.
Yeah, he's amazing.
David yeah.
He's amazing. He's highly intelligent. He gives the actors the freedom to explore and to find truth in the piece and within their characters. But when there's time for him to step in to offer clarity and direction and purpose and dimension, he does not hesitate. But he has a unique ability to give actors freedom, and then when he needs to show them what they are expressing or what needs to be expressed, he jumps right in. So it's really a delicate balance. And I was
he kind of knows the psyche of all the people in the cast pretty well, doesn't he?
I think so. I think that he says, and I think it's remarkable that the cast is made up of people from the community of many different abilities. And from that, you get a kind of truth. When you see the townspeople, you're seeing the townspeople. It's not, like Vanity Fair or the cover of Cosmopolitan. You're seeing real characters, real personalities with real stories. One of the things he did that I thought was really remarkable is he had every character on stage to write out a character biography, not their own personal biography. It's like, who are you? How do you exist within what part of Paris do you live in? What is your history? Are you a cobbler? Are you a fisherman? Tell me who you are and what your beginning, middle, and end is. And I found that remarkable. That was very, very wonderful. And even to read, and on the particular website that the company shares, we got to read everyone's personal journey within this piece in the 15th century. He was like, "Whoa, that's what you're doing? That's freaking amazing! You're a maker of shoes, and now you're, in the town square, and you're celebrating this feast of fools." It's really a remarkable thing. So,
have you been to Notre Dame?
I have.
It's an amazing cathedral.
It is amazing. I actually had my first sublime moment in my life, floating down the Seine with my sister. We traveled to Paris in 2004. When we were there for about 11 days. And we went to the Grand Opera. We saw Cinderella. We did everything. But one particular day,
opera, amazing.
One particularly, the Grand Opera with the mural by Chagall, and under that,
the staircase.
everything, the Beaux-Arts architecture. But the Notre Dame itself, as we floated down the Seine, I'm looking straight, towards the bank, and we have these headsets where we're listening to the history of the bridges, and the different points of interest as the boat's moving along the river. Suddenly, the voice of Maria Callas comes on to the speaker, and she's singing Ave Maria. And as the boat pulls forward, the Notre Dame comes into view. And one thing I didn't know about, and my degrees were in history of art, and of course we studied the Gothic architecture of that particular cathedral and the Gothic architecture of England and other parts of Europe. But what I didn't realize was on the building, it is encrusted with different statuary and artifacts that have been placed over the century. So as you go along the side of the Notre Dame, you see 19th century sculptures, much like the sculptures of Rodin or Camille Claudel, that are strutted to the building as figures are reaching towards the heaven. So as I'm seeing all these appointments that have been faceted to the balustrades and the buttresses and the hip roof line, it is so overwhelming as I listen to Maria Callas singing Ave Maria, and I'm confronting the magnificent grandeur of this, one of the greatest architectural structures on the earth.
Yeah.
2 tears fall from my eyes. I mean, just it's so overwhelming that I just immediately, tears fall. And in my life, that's the only time I've had a truly sublime moment.
I was inside for Easter, Easter service, and when you stand inside, there's nothing quite like that stained glass window.
Oh, the rose window.
And you can stand in the shadow of that window, and you feel that purple. It's a fine. You can't make stained glass windows like that anymore.
Yes.
So you're there, and there's something about the history and the energy of that place. And you do. Everyone knows the story of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You know. So you're in this place that has had so many sublime moments and funerals and weddings and
Yes.
the history that goes back to the story of this story that people can see this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week, and then the following week. But it's only 2 weekends to see the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, you must come. And I'm so proud of so many elements of it, because, you know, how do you architecturally show such a spectacular building? And the set designer, Jamie Devereaux Tate from New Orleans, who now resides in Portland, this is his second journey with MAPA, has managed to create not only the Gothic stone facades of the church, which are expected, but you see the famous rose window in an illusion. You see the bells of Notre Dame, including the giant bell, which I think her name is Marie. They all have names, and they all have different frequencies. And so the all of the ropes, all of the bells, all of the arches are rendered, but they're rendered in a kind of modern, contemporary way that allows the story to go from labyrinth to rooftop to rusticated facades. So there are many textures, from ropes to metal girders and scaffoldings and turning periactoids. So it's a very sophisticated set. A lot of people would have made it kind of one-dimensional. They just sort of like covered everything in stones and just left it like that. But there's a transparency that you can see through the architectural language of the building that moves
Well, that
and
kind of
goes in.
speaks to you because you like architecture.
Well, yeah.
But then, you know, the costumes made too. Now, you're about what, 6'4"?
Not 6'3".
6'3".
Yeah.
So you're an imposing figure.
Yes, and my costume's imposing.
And I bet I was going to say there's going to be an imposing
it's a
costume.
giant royal cape to it, and
You get a cape.
a cape and epaulaps and swords, and yes. So when I come in from the battlefield, I'm dressed in regalia, and the costume designer Dagmar from Poland has done a remarkable job. She's brought a kind of newness, a freshness. You are to see this show. I highly recommend everybody within this community to get down to the MAC, get on your phone.
Wasn't it fabulous being on that stage at the MAC?
It's magnificent. And I've had the fortune of performing in every state in the union with national tours. And I compare it to the Buell Theater in Denver and many other great houses in America, but you have a fine facility.
Good sound.
And good sound, great sight lines. I actually walked up and looked from the balconies down, and the technical directors at the theater have spared no expense in making sure the lighting and the sound will transfer this message across the proscenium. And if you listen and watch, I think you have no other choice but to come on a journey that will inspire it and enthrall.
You sing?
I do.
What do you sing?
Well, I'm a bass baritone, and within the story I sing a lot of songs. I sing one of the theme songs of the show, which is Someday with Esmeralda, and a song called In the Court, called A Place of Miracles, which is a very powerful song, because what happens is, in this particular court, you see the gypsies and how they create miracles. But while they're in this space, the very essence of miracle takes place, that, you know, we are all transformed. We all, through love, through togetherness, through support, that the miracle is all of us agreeing as a community. So I'm really impressed with MAPA. I'm really supportive of their future, their history. They've had several locations here in town, and they are seeking to go into their next phase in the upcoming years and create their own theatrical space, a black box theater and a larger theater. So they have long-term goals, and and I find that wonderful because there's growth. They're not stagnant. New things are happening. David has a great vision.
Always takes challenges on, and he always goes for. He never backs off a challenge.
Absolutely, and his direction of this show is not safe. Other people would have just made it one-dimensional. It would have been flat. They would have just stood there. They walked across the set. But no. The actors and the piece revolves within itself. I paid him a compliment. I said that he directs in a very curvilinear way rather than rectilinear. That his master's in theater is from the University of Oregon, and he knows his stuff.
Well, he and Andre.
Andre,
You have
and
this flow going, right?
And also Gary Levitt, who's
musically.
his background is from the New England Conservatory of Music, and he's one of the finest musical directors I've worked with.
And you have a choir on stage with you.
And he's directing everybody: the choir, the orchestra, the company. He is, it's like he's a pilot for Delta Airlines, and he's got all this stuff going on, and he's really doing it.
I love that comparison.
Yeah, he's got to land this plane and bring it, and take it off. So there are many different systems that he's looking at and working with, not only from his concert master, but to Esmeralda, played beautifully by Danielle Lene, and of course
she's a lovely lady, and she sings so
beautiful.
She has such a pure voice.
Pure voice.
So how do you balance it out? Because I guess it's up to the miking and sound, but I mean, I would imagine your voice is very powerful.
It is,
and you've got to do these duets, and
absolutely,
right. So and this is live theater. It's not like you're necessarily going to be having someone on a pot bringing one person up and.
Very good. When they have been rehearsing since May, and I came a little over a week ago to join the company, and practicing by myself. My voice was too powerful and forceful because I'm singing by myself.
Right, you've got a big voice.
Got a big voice. Yeah. And once I got with her and communicating with her and Gary, we realized that I needed to find a balance with her. And to my credit, I've actually been able to,
play it down,
and also to listen to her and listen to what we're singing about. Instead of I'm in a room by myself singing, there's no one to listen to other than yourself. But to be immediate and listen, receive direction. I love direction. I've told David the other day, I said, whenever you can, direct these people. Your words are fantastic, and we hang on them. You have the advantage of watching the show. When I did the national tour of Peter Pan, which I subsequently did on Broadway with Kathy Rigby and J.K. Simmons, who won the Oscar for Whiplash, we were at the Pantages in Los Angeles, and the dance captain made everyone in the ensemble sit out the show. And of course, I didn't want to miss the show. I want to perform. He said, no, you're going to sit out the show because the swing for the male and female ensemble needs to do your track, just in case you get sick. If you're not here, he needs to perform it. So I went, okay, you'd have to do this. So I sat out and watched Peter Pan in the Pantages. And of course, the announcer announced that, the role of Checo, normally played by Calvin Orlando Smith, will be played by Jim Alexander. Watching the show from the audience was a revelation to see what it looked like. And you don't have that advantage on stage because you're up there doing it's like you don't know what it looks like.
But you have to be aware. You're all seeing that vibe that you get with live theater, which makes the magic, the interaction of the energy.
Absolutely. But what I speak of mostly is spatial arrangement. Blocking someone. If you're supposed to be on 2 and they're supposed to be on 3 and someone else is supposed to be on 4, there's a reason for that, so everyone in the audience can see you. So standing behind or standing in a straight line, when you get to see the kind of tableau laid out, you're like, oh, that's why they have me right there, because the picture is cleaner, it's open, everyone, the sight lines are proper. So watching Peter Pan from the audience was overwhelming because I had done the show for 2.5 years and I had never seen it. And watching it from the audiences of the next night when I was on the deck, I was like, whoa, I get it now. So,
well, you have a large cast you're working with here.
It is a big cast.
Hunchback of Notre Dame, it's like with the music, and everyone's like 70 people.
There,
or
you know,
something
with the
involved?
orchestra, there could be close to 100. So, you know, there could be almost pressing 90 or 100 people.
Wow, that's a
and
lot.
then when you count the technical crew at the MAC, we are talking 100 people. So it is a big company. And the sound is glorious. The direction is glorious. Andre's movement is, you know, his background is he's danced and choreographed in Europe. He's from Montreal, and the community of Seabury and Maui is fortunate to have, well, all of these people, you know,
Yeah.
all of them. You know, Sally Sefton is the one who first came up to me in my home of Eugene, Oregon, and she looked at me. She said, "I think you might do theater." I said, "Well, do you think I might do theater?" I said, "Yeah."
Sally's a gem.
Yeah, she came to see me sing. I sang with the oldest glee club west of the Mississippi, the Eugene Gleemen, and she recorded me singing American Spirituals with them as the soloist, and of course forwarded to David. And one thing led to another, and here I am. But I'm so fortunate and so blessed to be here, because I'm the core of me, the core of the people who raised me in Georgia is family, as community. You know, that's what you get. If you get the memo, this is what you get. You know, people are waiting for life to get started. Well, it started, and this is it. You get your neighbors, your communities. I had this idea with the company that so many of the people who support them are going to come see this show, and so thus the community will come into that auditorium.
It's an important event, and Peter certainly knows this, that it's a very important event for the community.
Absolutely.
It's the big show of the summer.
Wonderful.
And there's been some amazing moments over the years, and so it's always the pressure's on, because it's like you kind of got to always outdo the other performances.
Sure.
Although they're all different.
They're all
right?
different.
But this is also the big fundraiser, and people are aware of that.
Which
it's
is good.
a huge investment. Now, you've been on Broadway. I mean,
Yeah.
it may seem like nothing, but when you put out
Oh, no, no.
$250,000
No.
on Maui, it's like a huge, huge
and
investment.
none of it is to be dismissed. One of the cast members is Anne Marie. Her and her husband are two of the producers who have sponsored this. And one of the first days of our rehearsal, I went up to her and I said, "Thank you for bringing this to this community." And she went, "Oh, my husband and I have done so little." I said, "Oh, no, there's nothing so little. That you are bringing art and culture to this community, and especially in this time when certain administrative forces would limit
Just
that,
totally cut back.
cut
on
it,
the-
you know, and just destroy it." So, you know, I am blessed by you, and this community is blessed by you, and blessed by the entire
Do you
production
actually have
team.
a program there?
I do.
I haven't seen it. It's showed on Facebook Live.
I do,
If
and
you haven't seen this, is the first.
yes, and I want to thank the Makana Aloha Foundation for their partnership, and all of the donors and the circle members, the producers circle members who have, you know, given their love, talent, and their support
I
in
want to thank the people who did the program.
They're-
Just getting
everybody.
it out in time so they-
everybody. I mean, it takes
Face printing, yeah.
it
that's-
takes
that's
a
the proof.
village. I mean, my
That's
goodness.
the only one that exists
Is
right
that
now.
the only
You know.
one? Oh my gosh.
You know, there's an angel circle, benefactor circle, patron of the art circle, director circle, star circle. So all of these names are totally important, and
Well,
it means that they
I have
love
to
this
tell
community.
You, Captain, that there's so many people on Maui who start in theater and music has started with MAPA.
Wonderful.
Amazing people whose
Wonderful.
lives have been changed. I mean, I know you know this, and I know this. I couldn't have been at all the person I was without music. I was blessed to
Absolutely.
go to a school, Beverly Hills High School, where there was
Yeah.
wonderful music department, wonderful people who
Wonderful.
cared, and without that, my whole life would have been different.
Absolutely.
And MAPA provides this for people who
Absolutely.
wouldn't have it otherwise.
It's terrific. It's you know, I did my research. You know, I didn't come here blind. After Sally told me about the company, I quickly went on YouTube and found tapes, videos from Jekyll and Hyde and from Les Mis and from the previous shows, and I saw the quality of theater that was being done, and it reminded me of a professional theater in Hilton Head, South Carolina, that I worked at, called the Self Family Arts Center, which is now the Carolina Coastal Center for Performing Arts, and they do, you know, big musicals, but seeing the house and seeing the caliber of the production values, the sets, the costumes, the lighting, I went, whoa, they're really doing it. So because of my almost 35 years as a union member, I could, pick it apart. And so I went, wow, I would like to work there or come in and be as a guest artist, because I could see the quality of what David and Andre and Gary and everyone in the office they're doing. So I say bravo.
It's a blessing. Well, we have about 2 minutes left, and Peter always warns me not to do this. Can we have a couple of bars of the?
Oh, sure. I'll sing a little song.
I think I have to turn your mic down.
Yeah, well, I'll sing quietly, because
Okay.
this is a song for that we sing in a place of miracles that takes place once we enter into the gypsies' hideout, and I ask Esmeralda if I can come with her, and it goes kind of like this. Here we are, nearly strangers from two worlds that I've rarely met, but somehow you have made me someone new. Traveling far on a journey, that's the longest I've taken yet. Now I'm asking if you will let me come with you. Though our lives are tattered and torn, all I'm feeling now is reborn. I must be in a place of miracles, where the blind can see.
Oh, I'm going to fade out slowly, because I got to let people know you have got to get your tickets to see the Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's going to be this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the week after. That's calling 242-SHOW, 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 or go to MauiArts.org. It is going to be magical. It's going to be miraculous. You got a beautiful boy, a gorgeous voice. That's acapella, yay! Acapella,
Yay.
amazing.
For my
wonderful.
Danielle.
Well, that's all the
Nice
time we
Esmeralda.
have. Thank you so much
Thanks for
coming
having me.
in. Wonderful.
Come
being
see the
here.
Hunchback.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you at the show.